Hi. As part of the bus conversion, what we're looking at is what we're going to use inside, whether we use electricity or we use gas. We've decided that electricity is the best way to go. So as part of that, we're going to think about what we're going to cook on, with, in. So I've been practicing using an air fryer that a good friend gave to me. Thanks, Beth. And I've done a few little bits and pieces. So today I thought I would show you how to make this artisan bread, which is really simple. I know there's a lot more complicated, beautiful things out there, but this is simple, something that I think can be easily made in an RV. So that's the purpose of today's video. So I thought I'd just show you how and what it's going to look like, because as part of what we were doing when we were researching and trying to find out what we were going to do, I've been trying to look at, okay, how do other people cook? What do they use? And we're looking at doing an induction cooktop, so we'll talk about that at some stage. But for now, I'm going to just talk about a little air fryer that I have and how I'm going to make the bread. So I've got a little recipe over here. So I'm going to start with 3 cups of, I've actually got bread flour, but I believe you can use all-purpose flour. 2, and I will check the recipe, 2 teaspoons of instant yeast, which you can just buy at Woolies or wherever you shop, because we're in Australia and that's where I shop, and that's what I got because it actually lasts me a long time. I don't make bread every week. I could, but I don't. But it lasts a fair while. In fact, I've had that for probably maybe a year, and it's just about maybe half empty. And 2 teaspoons of cooking salt, and they do say to use cooking salt. It's a bit not as fine as table salt. So 2 teaspoons of cooking salt. And 1.5 cups of very warm water. Now the trick to the very warm water is, if it's a nice bath temperature and you'd have a nice soak in it, then that's what it is. In fact, I may put this in a little bit earlier, but it's a little bit too cold now. So, and I'm going to use my bigger container, so I'm going to have 1.5 cups. Oh, that's a bit warm. So the test is, it's something that you would want to bathe in. So yes, I do have clean hands. Still a little bit warm. Make sure I don't go over my 1.5 cups. Oh, that a bit. Oh nope, still quite a bit of a hot bath. Because if you do it too hot or too cold, either way, it doesn't work properly with the rise. Okay, that's better. That's a nice warm bath. And it's a cold day today, so we definitely want it to be a bit warmer than normal. Okay, so we just mix in the dry ingredients and then mix in the water. And it's very, very easy. Nothing special about it. Do whatever you find easiest to do. Can be a bit of a mess with flour. I normally have an apron on, but I can't find mine. I think I need to get a new one. Alright, so the consistency needs to be a little bit wet. So not like a cake batter, which is quite wet. This is going to be a little bit wet. And that will about do it. And if it's too wet, put in a little bit more flour. And if it's too dry, put in a bit more water. It is that simple to do. And then all you have to do, just, I took away my towel. That's what I went to get and forgot. Is put cling wrap on it, and it's going to rise. for a couple of hours. Now it depends on the weather, and it's not very warm. It's actually quite cool here today in normally sunny Queensland. So this can take an hour to rise. It can be that quick. And apparently you can put it in a warm dryer that you normally put your clothes in. Don't turn it on, but you can sit it in there because that's a warm spot. Trying for somewhere that's warm, not direct sunlight, but just somewhere where it's warm. And I'm just going to put mine over on the bench and leave it there for 2 hours, and we will come back and I'll show you what we do next. So this is the dough proofing, so doubling in size. So we're actually almost there, but we'll leave it a little bit longer and come back and show you when we're going to get it ready to put in the oven. So it has been 2 hours, so now it's time to check to see if it has doubled in size and to see if it wobbles like jelly, which it certainly does. So normally you would, in a traditional oven, you'd put that on, preheat the oven with a Dutch oven container in there. But we're using the air fryer because we don't have to do all of that. So I do need to go over and put on the air fryer. Try again. Okay, so it'll probably take 5 minutes to preheat, if that. Now I need to prepare the dough. So if you have a pastry mat, which I couldn't find anywhere, I tried to buy one yonks ago and couldn't, so I just do it on a clean bench. And I'm now going to scrape out all the dough. And if I didn't tell you what the ingredients were before or how much, I'll actually put a link in the bottom, or Andrew will put a link in the bottom. Because it's not, of course, my recipe, because I'm not a chef. I'm just testing these things for when we live in the bus full time. So I also like to dust up my hands, but before I do that, I'm going to spray, because I'm going to use a loaf tin, something I haven't used for this recipe, so I have no idea how it's going to go. I'm going to do my hands and put a bit of flour on my thingy, and then what we do is we just fold it over, so it's not a traditional loaf where you would knead it. This is very, very simple, so I like it. Still tastes good, so it just needs to be folded over a few times. And I just continually get some flour on my scraper because it is quite a wet dough. And of course this is going to go into that oven proof container in a minute. So I've rolled it one more time. You really can do whatever you like with it. Well, so the recipe says. And it has worked every other time when I've used my Dutch oven, but this is in a regular oven, but this time I'm using the air fryer. So that's what the testing is all about. Now, normally I would also have parchment paper or baking paper. So I don't know how I'm going to get this in. Because I normally would use paper. So here goes nothing. Did you like that? So this is all now me just thinking this is what I should do because it's not in the recipe, because I couldn't find an air fryer recipe for bread that was what I would call traditional bread in Australia. So I've kind of adapted a regular one for the air fryer, since that's what I expect I'll be using in the van. So I'm just sort of making, normally when you do the artisan bread you fold it around, and it comes with all sorts of things on top, so I'm making them myself. And you could probably put a bit of melted butter or maybe a bit of milk on top, but I don't in the regular recipe, so I'm not going to in this. Let's go and check the air fryer. Okay, so it's been heating up for 3 minutes, and it really doesn't take very long at all to heat up. So I'm going to put it in, see how we go. Just on a tray, just in the oven, and there it is. So in about 30 minutes I'm going to come back and check it, and that's all for now. This is the bread now, still warm, which is lovely. Just want to show you what I normally cook it in when I cook it in a traditional oven. This is a Dutch oven. So of course you would have a round shape when you cook your bread. So I didn't have anything like that, and that's way too big for the air fryer I have. So whether I go back to that when I do it when we move into the bus, I'm not sure, because I am actually going to get a bigger air fryer because that's only a 12 litre. But for now I just want to make sure that I can cook everything that I cook in an oven in an air fryer when I'm in the bus. So now let's get on to the cutting stage, because I think it looks okay, but it's when you cut it and open it that you can really tell what it's like. Got my handy little slicer thingy. Nice crispy crunchy top. Oh, it looks like it looks alright. And that's just the end bit. I don't know if you can hear the crunch. Shame we don't have smell-o-vision. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, let's get down to the real taste test. A little bit of butter, not too much because I'm going to have some jam, and you can still see it's lovely and hot. It's melting straight away. A bit of butter. My grandma used to make apricot jam, and it's the best ever, so fortunately I can't get that from her anymore, but I do try and buy a nice one. Maybe I'll make my own one day, who knows. And a nice big dollop of cream. You put anything on it, obviously it's bread, do whatever you like. But for me, jam and cream. You want to have a bite, Andrew? I would call that a success for the air fryer.
Very nice. Good job, darling.
So we've come back a little bit later, and of course it wouldn't be an Australian piece of bread without some Vegemite. So I'm going to have a little bit more, and I don't put on too much because otherwise it's nasty. Just put on a little bit so it can Aussie Vegemite. Yum.
As a part of our bus build, we're going all electrical, so we'll have no gas in the bus. We will have a backup generator. But for the time being, what we're doing is we're checking the appliances that we're looking at using in the bus to see what voltage and power usage they're using. So we just grabbed something cheap from Bunnings to read the power and the voltage and the amperage and the wattage for what each appliance uses, so then we can decide whether we're going to use it in the bus or not. So we've got an air fryer connected to it at the moment, and Carolyn's just about to put on some dinner. So we're going to check what this does.
It's 1700 watts.
It's a 1700 watts air fryer, so let's take a look and see how it goes. As you can see, we're using about 15 amps and also about 3,500 watts, which is going to be too much for the inverter we have, which I think is going to be about 3,000 watts. We may have to go to either a higher inverter, which I don't think we will do, or we might have to see if we can get a better air fryer that doesn't use so much wattage. So we'll see how we go with that. We're going to keep looking at and checking what we can use for the appliances within our bus. So we hope you liked Carolyn's tasty bread recipe and how she does it in the air fryer. If you want to see more of what she does when we're cooking on the road and also while she's testing the equipment, just leave your comments down below and she'll do some more for you. Also, if you're liking all our bus build videos, just don't forget to hit the like button and also the subscribe button and the notification button so you get told when we're uploading new videos. So for the time being, we hope you have a great day and we'll talk to you soon.